sure that any factory you're working with offshore is following those requirements. And then domestically, it's the Fair Labor. So you can look at the Fair Label Association's certification, and that should be hanging on the wall. That just means that, as far as minimum wage, not paying per piece, things like that are happening within the factories. There's the B Corp as well, which means the brand has been certified by a third-party B Lab, which meets the higher standards of verified and social economic performance, environmental performance. So as you can see, there's so many different ways that you can be certified or having to meet these certain conditions in regards to labor laws. You'll want to, again, decide what is the most important to you. Is it the organic fibers? Is it going to be the dyeing process? Are you not using plastics? Plastics, polyester is a plastic. Elastic is a plastic. A lot of buttons are made from plastic. So if you are specifically not wanting to use plastic, then it might be difficult for you to then not also use all organic fabrics and fibers and dyeing process. So you'll want to pay attention to what is your goals in regards to sustainability. What does that mean for you? And how are you going to portray that story to whoever your consumer is? Sustainability is really important. And in some way, shape, or form, you should be able to apply some of these sustainable rules and regulations to whatever product you're making. At the bare minimum, that you want to be following those labor laws. And keeping yourself sustainable in regards to your manufacturing. And there's some really cool things that a lot of domestic manufacturers are doing. There's a manufacturer in Texas that all of their sewers are blind. So they're helping with blindness. And that could be part of your sustainable message. There are factories that will pay their sewers a salary. So regardless if they have work or not, their sewers are being paid. Again, that will up your cut price, your cut and sew price a little bit, but you'll want to work that into your message for, why your price might be a little bit higher is because those sewers aren't being paid when there's only work. Those sewers get paid regardless if there's work or not. Different ways to be sustainable when it comes to factories. There's all women manufacturers that only employ women. There's manufacturers that, like I said, will hire people with special needs. So really focusing in on the people and the labor requirements and how your brand is special in regards to how they're working with the manufacturers. There's some really great factories out there doing really amazing things that you can work into your sustainability message. There's also, if you're doing on-demand shipping, you're then not producing clothes that will later maybe go to waste. If you're doing on demand, or if you're doing pre-orders, that could be part of your story of how you're sustainable. And what I mean by that is instead of producing, say, 500 pieces for your first collection, you do a pre-order and you see how many you sell before you do production. Therefore, none of your garments end up not being sold, which is good for you too. But it's saying that you won't end up having any of your garments go to further waste. There's ways of using recycled fabrics. So you're using recycled fabrics. Some designers even will take old jeans or old hoodies and take them apart and make new clothes. So they're upcycling. So that's a way to be sustainable. And like I touched on before, the actual fibers of the fabric can be sustainable. The dye process of the fabric that may or may not be organic can be sustainable. There's different buttons. You can use a natural fiber, maybe a coconut instead of a plastic. You can take all plastics out of what you're doing. And so there's different ways in the actual material to be more sustainable. And then in the shipping, everyone knows that most things get shipped into a poly bag, which unfortunately is the best way to protect your garment. So the reason that everyone ships in the poly bag is if that box gets wet or damaged, there's some protection on that garment. So that's why poly bags are used, but you can use a recycled plastic and bring that into your message. You can use recycled boxes, things like that. So you'll want to just make your product as sustainable as possible, obviously, because that's very important. But it is also very difficult to have your product be 100% organic and sustainable from the ground to the customer. It would be very, very expensive, unfortunately, if you had every single thing be as organic and sustainable as possible. And maybe that's great, and the consumer will pay for that if you tell them that's part of your story and message. But it can be pretty difficult. So in the beginning, as a new designer, you guys have enough difficulties and enough things to overcome. So picking your battles of like what's most important to you and what your message is going to be in regards to sustainability would be my tip. Okay, I'm going to open it up for questions. And if you guys, I am doing a 3-course bundle of classes. We're going to talk about how to prepare for a photo shoot and what to do and how to organize it, location and mood boards and models. We're going to talk about a branding deck, so everything you need in regards to branding and putting together your brand image. And then what's the last one? Branding, photo shoot,
and line development.
Oh, and line development, sorry. So everything that we use for line development, so our flow sheet and how you keep everything on track and create a timeline. So it's going to be super, super informative. It's basically the first things that you'll need in order to launch successfully. So if you guys are interested in those bundle of classes, it's in the Be More Consulting Instagram. There's a link in the bio. You can sign up through Makers Row. You can sign up through Embark. I'm sure you've seen the emails on it. So it's 3 courses. You're going to get a ton of content, a ton of templates, a ton of homework to do. So for those of you that like to walk away with homework and things to implement, we'll definitely not leave you disappointed there. But it's just everything that we have put together to organize so that you can be successful in your launching and how you can organize your thoughts. A lot of this is in your head already, but I put together this program so that you're able to put it on paper so that you can stay on track and be organized. Okay, so questions. What are your thoughts about brands that use dead stock? How do you know you're really buying dead stock and not just excess inventory? Yeah, so dead stock, I don't know if there's any sort of certification for dead stock or any kind of requirements. So I don't know. It's just based on their word that it's dead stock. But yeah, some places do actually produce goods solely for dead stock. That's part of their marketing plan. So it can be difficult to know that you're producing dead or you're purchasing dead stock. Let's see if there's any other questions. We've got a bunch of people who joined and waved. Hello. Wow, those are great bonus incentives to work with certain manufacturers. Never thought about those as things as a graphic designer. Yeah, so again, it's always about creating your story and aligning yourself with the right people that are on brand for you, that also share your same message. So there's so many different manufacturers that have so many different ways that they, incentivize their employees, or they, treat their staff, things like that. So being able to find someone that's in an alignment with your ideals is really, really important. So does anyone have any more questions? I will wait. Usually people have questions. Sustainability is like a big hot topic now. Are there color systems aside from Pantone that are sustainable, like organic inks? Yes. So Pantone is a color system of numbers. So Pantone specifically, like if I was looking for this green, I would give a Pantone number, a cotton Pantone number, so that whoever's printing or dyeing that fabric would match it exactly. So it's a universal way of matching colors. But organic dyes, I think what you mean, not organic inks. But they could be the same, I guess. There's things like beets, different fruits, different herbs, different, you usually, when you're using organic dyes, you're usually going to get a more organic hue. Like it will be hard to get certain colors using organic dyes. So that's why the organic dye process can be a little bit tough. But yeah, as far as I know, they use different organic things, which will be things like fruit and tea, and I know they use beets. Do you know anything else that they use to dye organic fabrics? Like pomegranate, different. Yeah, so there's they use different, just what you would think, how if you were to dye something organically, they're using organic things to dye that fabric. And you'll just want to look for a supplier that does organic dyeing, and they'll be able to help you, or like tell you, they'll give you very specific colors that they're able to dye based off of those organic ways of dyeing. Because obviously you can't use any chemicals, you can't use anything man-made, if it hurts the environment, things like that. So it's really specific in how things can be dyed organically. Any other questions? I really hope that you guys sign up for this course. It's going to be so informative. I've got a whole thing on how you should prepare your branding, questions to think about, how to think about your competition, who your customer is. For the photo shoot, we'll talk about planning out scouting your location, to your models, to your mood boards, to your shot list. And then for your line development, we'll talk about how to organize the entire, we have what we call a flow sheet. So that has everything for each style in tabs, everything you need to think about, your size chart. So everything that has to do with your collection and your production and moving forward is in that flow sheet. So if you guys are interested in that, again, you can sign up. It's 3 classes. You can sign up in the link in the VMora bio. Oh, we got some questions. Are there studies showing how long recycled materials last compared to new materials, for example, denim? I don't know of any specific studies, but there are testing labs that you could have that tested for like abrasion and pilling, and they'll be able to tell you how an organic denim would hold up to, or a recycled denim would hold up in regards to a new material, but those can be quite expensive. So hopefully you could find something online already. I would just spend some time Googling, maybe talking to the denim vendors that are offering the recycled. Maybe they'd have the testing done. Same for any other nylons, things like that. Are these sustainable solutions more expensive? Most of the time they are, yes. Yeah, so that's why when you're buying an organic or a sustainable product, it tends to be more expensive. And what you'll want to think about is it's the same as like food. Like people will go and they'll get an organic avocado and toast for $12 because it's organic. That hasn't quite transitioned into the world of manufacturing and clothing. People are still buying that $12 t-shirt when they should be buying a $40 t-shirt because it's more sustainable and it's organic. So there seems to be a disconnect there in people spending money on organic foods and organic things to drink, but they're not thinking about what they're putting on their bodies. If you're going to work out and you're covered in plastic because you're wearing polyester, you're absorbing that. That's in your skin. So people should really be more concerned, I think, and willing to spend more money on things being sustainable, that they wear on their body and that they purchase, and all the labor and the work that goes into everything. You can find my Q&A course below. So that link has just been put, and hopefully we can put this in the comments section under today's recording in the Facebook of where the Eventbrite, there's an Eventbrite for today's, or for the 3-course event. So if you guys are watching on the live stream, it's there. Maybe you guys can put it also on the Instagram live event. That'd be awesome if you're watching. So yes, sustainable is more expensive. How to get funding as an upcoming designer. So it really would be a whole other topic. Usually funding comes from angel investors, and usually angel investors are friends and family. It's difficult to find an investor that will invest with a designer right off the bat. So you'll want to prove the market and have sales if you're looking for funding in regards to like working with anyone that's going to invest in a company that you don't know. You'll want to absolutely test the market, have some sales under your belt. But again, that would be like a whole other topic. But my suggestion is to put together a really solid plan, have your sketches together. If you're looking for funding, start with friends and family, people that would want to partake in your success, people that care about you. And then once you've proven the market and you have some sales under your belt, you can then look into private investment and look further out, because you can say, if you give me X amount of dollars, here's the projected return based on my sales from last season. Does that make sense? Quickly, it's a larger question, but I hope that helps. Let's see, other questions. Like to hire a social media consultant. The computer stuff is the least favorite. Any idea on budgeting for this? Yeah, so we do social media, and that's $900 a month, and that gives you posts and working with blogs. So $900 a month would be where I would start for that. I found it hard to find recycled fabric suppliers. Can you suggest a site where we can work with eco-friendly? Queen of Raw sells recycled fabrics and dead stock fabrics that she buys that designers could no longer use. So that's a good source for that. What do you believe the new trend will be in sustainable menswear? Do you believe there's a market for men and sustainable products? Trends typically skew towards women's wear. I think that sustainability is, I'm hoping, not a trend. I'm hoping that people are really starting to wake up to the impact that the clothing industry has globally, and not only in how the products are made, but what happens to them after. And I'm hoping that it's not just women's wear, it's also menswear. And it's not just in clothing. I'm hoping people think about global impact outside of the fashion industry. They definitely have started to think about that in regards to food, and different ways of like using plastics and recycling. So I'm hoping it's not a trend, and that yes, it will be predominant in menswear as well as women's wear. What are your thoughts of fabrics made from recycled bottles, as far as health-wise for the individual wearing those garments? So that's, yeah, that's what I was saying. The fabrics that are made from recycled bottles are, they're really nice. They're soft. The polyester is, it's really nice to work with. But yeah, I don't know the impact of wearing, we're all wearing polyester and plastics. I don't know specifically how that affects your body. because I'm not a scientist, but I would think that wearing organic fabrics, especially when, in workout gear and things that you're sweating in all the time. I am in New York, and I don't know what's going on outside, but I am sorry. Lots of honking. So sorry about that. But yeah, we don't know. That's the thing. So I would think that it would be healthier for your body when you're working out to not have plastics on it. We don't want to drink water from plastic water bottles, but yet we're wearing the plastics when we're working out. So that's just something to think about. And if you're not using plastics in your clothing, that can be part of your message as well. Some brands you think are leading in sustainability. Gosh, I think there's so many. Most to all bigger brands are looking at being sustainable and building that into their message. Transitional cotton would be more sustainable. What are your thoughts about organic cotton versus organic bamboo? Bamboo, the way that they treat the bamboo into the fabric is actually not that great for the environment. Cotton is more sustainable than bamboo. But I think the way that cotton is grown versus bamboo, the bamboo is more sustainable. So that's the thing, like there's so many different ways. There's so many different ways to be sustainable. All right, so that's all the time. Yeah, you gotta love New York. What are you gonna do? Are there U.S. manufacturers using upcycling practices for handbags? I'm sure you could work with a factory that would do upcycling. I don't know of any offhand, but great. Well, that was today's talk. Thank you guys so much for joining. Again, if you are, you can sign up for my 3 course through Makers Row and Embark Live. We have it on our Vmora Instagram, and I'm on Livermore from Vmora, and I hope to see you guys on the 3 courses. If you have any questions, let us know, put it in a comment, reach out, and I hope you guys are all having a really great day. All right, thanks guys.